This is Thesis Research Mastery, which is 4 hours and prepared by Dr. Galata. It is a kind of orientation on thesis research, both for proposal and final thesis. Objective of the course is to help students understand what evaluators look for in both proposals and final theses, guiding them to avoid common mistakes and meet key academic standards. And the next objective is to teach students how to build strong proposals and develop high quality theses by incorporating essential elements that should be incorporated in both proposal and final thesis writing. Having said this, let me start my section 1 presentation. Under section 1, I want to start with the question which says, what is research for you? What is research for you? You might hear many times from different people, I know that, but still I want to hear from you, what is research mean? Many writers, many experts of the area said many about research, and I want to say research is an attempt to search for truth. You see, when you do research, you are the one who attempt to search for truth. This means one way of getting or addressing the truth is via research. So I can say research is an attempt to search for truth. This may be a good concept of research that I wanted to let you know in this manner. And the next thing, when we come to scientific research, we can say it is intellectual application in the investigation of matter. And in another word, we can say research is a systematic process of collecting and analyzing information. Information of what? Information of phenomenon under the study. So scientific research is, we can say it is intellectual application in investigation of matter, and it is a systematic process of collecting and analyzing information of the phenomenon under the study. The next thing I have is about the explanation. We can explain also scientific research in this way. Scientific research must be systematic and follow a series of steps and a rigid standard protocol. When we say this, these rules are broadly similar, but may vary slightly between different fields of science. And we can say also scientific research must be organized and undergo planning, including performing literature reviews of past research and evaluating what questions need to be answered. And any type of real research requires some kind of interpretation and an opinion from the researcher. This is the underlying principle or question that establishes the nature and the type of experiment. And when we come to the characteristics of scientific research, by the way, scientific research has its own characteristics. When we come to the detailed issues related with the characteristics of scientific research, it is directed towards the solution of problem. Yes, scientific research is directed towards this solution of the problem. And it is based upon observable experience or empirical evidence. Scientific research demands accurate observation and a description. Not only this, it involves gathering new data from primary or first-hand sources or using existing data for a new purpose. It is characterized also, we can say the other characteristics that scientific research bears. It is carefully designed procedure and always applying rigorous analysis. Not only this, we can say scientific research requires expertise. This means it needs also patience. That means it is characterized by passion and an unhurried activity. It is carefully recorded and reported work. And also sometimes it needs courage. Not only this scientific research strives to be objective and logical, applying every possible test to validate the procedures employed. And not only this, the data collected and the conclusion rate. It strives for this all to be objective and logical. And when we talk about goals of scientific research, the purpose of scientific research from the very beginning, it is problem solving. Yes, it is problem solving. If you are now starting to do your thesis, don't forget that you are not doing this only for academic requirement. You should have to think that this title or the research you are going to undertake is a problem solving. And not only this, goal of scientific research is it is focus. That means research or scientific research focuses on answering various questions and acquiring new knowledge. And I'm not going to detailedly talk about the characteristics and the objectives and the other issues that you may definitely read from different books. But my intention today is about letting you to know the process in research proposal development and also the final paper reporting processes. When we start from the first one, it is about identifying a research topic. It is real that there are many several ideas to choose from. But what I want to tell you is, before deciding on a research topic, each proposed topic must be compared with all other options. But the question is, what is the criteria via which we compare the options at our table? Don't worry about that. The criteria for selecting a research topic can be clearly summarized as follows. If you want to have a good research title, never forget to compare the options or ideas in terms of the relevancy. You should have to compare the many titles that you have on your table in terms of the relevancy. That means in terms of the significance of the topic, in terms of avoidance of duplication, in terms of urgency of data and urgency of data needed, which means in terms of timeliness, in terms of applicability of results, in terms of interest of the researcher, which means you, and in terms of ethical acceptability. These are very summarized criteria for selecting a research topic. So I can say relevancy, avoidance of duplication, urgency of data needed, feasibility of study, applicability of the result, interest to the researcher, and ethical acceptability. These all are criteria for selecting a research topic. And today we want to see the proposal also. What is research proposal? To be very brief, it is the detailed plan of the study. It is a plan, nothing else, but the detailed plan of the study. But sometimes I hear from different students that why we should have to have a written proposal. Yes, you should have to have written proposal. It is very important because the intent of written research proposal is to present a focused and a scholarly presentation of research problem and plan. That's why we should have to have the written document. And this is because the more you have a vague or weak or faddy proposal, this kind of proposal lead to unsuccessful research writing exercise. So, a clean, well-thought proposal forms the backbone for the research itself. So, a good researcher should have to have a good idea, which means a good research proposal hinges on a good idea. Getting a good idea hinges on familiarity with the topic. You should have to be sure that you are familiar with the title. And it is not an easy actually. This assumes a longer preparatory period of reading, a longer preparatory period of observation, a longer preparatory period of discussion, a longer preparatory period of incubation. This is something that you should have to invest on. So I recommend my students and those who are listening me, read everything that you can in your area of interest to prepare sounding proposal document. And when we come to components of research proposal, actually different people say different content. But today I'm not going to tell you because it is different according to different colleges rule. I only want to say some very brief one. Be aware that the proposal document at least should incorporate 3 chapters. Chapter 1, which is introductory part. Chapter 2, review of related literature. Here's the name matters. Review of related literature. And chapter 3, research design and merits. At the end, you should have to have time schedule or time budget and financial budget and references. And for final paper, you need to have chapter 4 and chapter 5. Chapter 4 is about data analysis and discussion, and chapter 5 is about summary of the finding and conclusion and recommendation. So this is the main components of research proposal, but I can list much, but still that is not mandatory because you should have to follow the college guideline. And the next point I want to tell you is, actually as I have said earlier, I'm not talking today the whole contents of proposal and the whole contents of thesis report document concerns or concepts. I only focus only where the evaluators click always. Let me start from title page. Some people ask, does the title deserve a page lonely? Yes. I say yes. Because the first impression matters. First impressions are strong impressions. Make your title an attention grabber. You see, in Ethiopia, we do have a proverb which says, ከፍትፍቱ ፊቱ የሚባል ነገር አለና I added Amharic here because really I am impressed with this proverb of Ethiopians. And so title page is very important, and then you should have to have a very interesting title page. The title of your research proposal should state on that page exactly in the smallest possible number of words, and you should have to put your name, the name of your department, the name of faculty, the name of, or maybe the name of your college, and the name of your advisors, and the date of delivery under the title. Actually, you may have another additions or another details that you may have according to your college, but the main thing that you should have to write on your title page is this all. And I want to let you know something. All words in the title should be chosen with great care, and association with one another must be carefully managed. The title page identifies the proposal and provides the endorsement of appropriate body or advisor. Here, a good title is defined as the fewest possible words that adequately describe the contents of the study. You see, title is not something you write in a vast manner. It is a label. It is a label. I want to say again, title is a label. It is not a sentence. Titles should almost never contain abbreviations. And the title page has no page number, and it is not counted in any page numbering. And the other thing is abstract. Actually, I wrote abstract here, or I want to let you focus here on my note that you get on my course. Abstract for me, as my perspective, it is better to write on final paper. Some people also says it is also important on proposal, but as to me, I recommend my students to have the abstract part in your final paper. That's enough. So what is abstract? Abstract is a mini version of the paper. So here, a busy reader always wanted to see your abstract and want to understand the detailed contents via one paper abstract or one page abstract. So abstract is a mini version of the paper. Here I'm not going to teach you about abstract, but I wanted to address some points that abstract should incorporate. One, expressive statement about the study issue. The first statement you put on abstract should have to hit the heart of the reader. So expressive statement about the study issue is very, very important. Second, objective of the study. Third, methodology employed, in short. Look, methodology employed should be written in abstract, but in short. And a major finding is, this is the fourth one. And the fifth one is major recommendation forwarded. And the key word is at the end. Why keywords? In today's world, keywords help us. You, when you publish your paper, it is easily searchable. So keywords at the end is very important on that abstract. Remember, this abstract better written in italic font in one paragraph. Why italic? Is it a fashion? I say it is not a fashion, but very important, because if you make your abstract different from other, it will attract or grab the attention of the reader, and then it will attract your reader to look at into your paper in detail, and then will give you a feedback or will give you something that may enrich your paper. So it is better if we make it in italic font. These are the contents or very important issues that should be addressed in abstract. And the next point is about introduction or background of the study. This provides readers with background information for the research. Here, via sufficient background information, you allow the reader to understand the context and significance of the question you are trying to address. Here, proper acknowledgement of the previous work on which you are building is very mandatory. By the way, in introduction body or in background body, you may have another issues also. But I want to address some few points. Don't forget writing down the practices related with the issue under the study, the experiences of different country, the experience of the world. For example, if you are doing your research in Ethiopia or somewhere, but I am now taking an example, if you are doing your research in Ethiopia, you should have to write the practices related with the issue under the study or the experiences of different country, starting from worldwide and then to Africa and then to Ethiopia, and then you come down to the institution under the study. That gives the reader the coherency. So it is good to write this issue in this manner. I'm not telling what should be written in introduction or background. You may have your guideline as a college you are pursuing in, but I'm only telling you the tricks of the evaluators and the secret of the thesis evaluators. Professors look at this point most of the time. And the next point I want to tell you is about problem statement. This problem statement encapsulates the question you are trying to answer, which means it summarizes the question you are trying to answer by your study. And then the following statement I want to tell or I want to inform you is almost most of the scholars agree on. Problem well stated is said to be have addressed. This is really very interesting. This means this part is key to success of your paper. And effective problem statement is answer the question, why does this research need to be conducted? And in most cases, I inform my students, whom I advise, to incorporate the following main points. Not only, but I tell them not to make mistake by jumping on three main issues. One, you should have to address to what extent the issue under the study is serious. This can be done in most cases by using evidences, official evidence maybe, or evidence that you get from your pre-proposal survey. And the next point is about why this study is very important. You should have to clearly note why this study is very important to undertake. And the next or the third one is about what empirical gap is bridged by this specific study. The first one, to what extent the issue under the study is serious, which means the magnitude of the problem under the inquiry. This can be done by evidence, using evidences, even numbers, data. And why this study is important. If the reader not accepting or not convinced about the importance of the study or the issue you are dealing with, why he or she wastes her time or his time? So you should have to show what is the importance of this study or this issue under the inquiry. And the third one is about what empirical gap is bridged by this specific study. This means other scholars, other researchers might deal with some variables or some aspects of the issue you are dealing with, but yours is going to address which is not touched by those previous researchers. So you say somebody known like Ikele or somebody named this did this aspect. but overlooked this issue. And my paper will address this aspect, this variable, this paradigm, and so on and so forth. Unless you show clearly what empirical gap is bridged by this specific study, it will never be a strong problem statement. So this is how to deal with it. And the other thing is about research question and the hypothesis. Actually, this is linked to the speculative proposition of the problem statement. Where from we get them? They can be inferred from overall conceptual framework of the study and are of critical importance to data analysis and interpretation. In most cases, people say, is there any difference between questions and hypothesis? Somehow there is a difference. Questions are most often used in qualitative inquiry, although their use in quantitative inquiry is becoming more prominent in today's researches. And hypotheses are relevant to theoretical research and are typically used only in quantitative inquiry. That is the difference. And having said this, the next point I want to address in my lecture is about objective or aim of the study. Here also I don't want to go deep down talking more about objective, but I want to say this is summary of what is to be achieved by the study. Objective of the study should be closely related to the statement of the problem actually. Objective of the study may be general, but there should be also a specific objectives. Here, when you write your specific objective, it should be simple, not complex. It should be specific, not vague. It should be stated in advance, not after the research is done. And it should be stated using action verbs that are specific enough to be measured. For example, to identify major challenges, to assess the practices, to determine the extent of this. It should be with action verbs. So this is what we should have to focus while formulating or designing our objective. And the next thing I want to let you have in your mind is, I have one question. Why should research objectives be developed? Is it mandatory? Is it necessary? Yes, it helps us to have focus by narrowing it down to essentials. And it avoids the collection of data which are not strictly necessary for understanding and solving the problem you are dealing with. And it is also very important to organize the study in clearly defined parts or phrases or phases also. So it is very important. That's why we should have to develop the objective. And the next, from the introductory part, you may ask, are this only the essentials or elements or contents we should have to address in the first section? No, much sections or much details are missing, but I am focusing only where people make mistake. So now I am going to address about the literature review. Here, don't forget, we are not going to review the million literature, but we are going to review the related ones only. This is the very important title. Most people say literature review. Are we forced to review all the documents we have at hand or we have in our library? No. It is better to review the related ones, and then the naming matters. It is better to say related literature review. So what is literature review? I can say the literature review is the content that asks how similar and related questions have been answered before. Not only this, it gives an overview of what has been said, who the key writers are, what are the prevailing theories and hypotheses, what the questions are being asked, and what methods and methodologies are appropriate and useful. By the way, it supports you even to design your own appropriate tool, because you get from the literature what methods and what methodologies are appropriate and useful. And this section or literature part must address the following. You may have another content actually. I'm only addressing those should not be missed. One, conceptual related literature should be there in this chapter. Theoretical background literature should be written. Empirical review and identified empirical gap should be written. Be organized around and related directly to the research questions or objectives you are developing. While writing your literature, don't do it haphazardly. Everything you write in your literature, it is good if you roll around your objectives, because the very reason of doing this literature part is to address the objective of the research. And the very important thing I want to tell my listener in this chapter is about conceptual framework. Actually, this is a set of broad ideas and principles taken from relevant fields of inquiry and used to structure a subsequent presentation. When clearly articulated, a conceptual framework has potential usefulness as a tool to scaffold research and therefore to assist researchers to make meaningful subsequent findings. Such framework should be intended as a starting point for reflection about the research and its context. The framework is a research tool intended to assist a researcher to develop awareness and understanding of the situation under scrutiny and to communicate it. This is about my section 1 presentation, and I want to thank you all for listening me carefully. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.